Welcome back to Ferris Sports Update. Time to talk Bulldog Hockey, and with us, head coach Bob Daniels. And Coach, welcome back to the show. I know you're battling some sickness, but great to have you with us again.
Yeah, it's good to be here, Rob. And it's probably that time of the year where everyone gets a little bit sick, and it's my turn.
That time of the year, as you mentioned, in terms of the end of the year, and a big series this past weekend against Bemidji State, last home series here in the regular season. Talk about your performance this past weekend.
Sure. Well, it was. They're very similar in terms of their approach to the game as I thought Alabama Huntsville was, with the fact that they play a little bit better tempo. But I thought we were pretty well ready for them. I thought on the Friday night game in the first period, we had a lot of turnovers that as the rest of the weekend went on, we were able to eliminate and play much, much better. But probably the only period I was really dissatisfied all weekend was the first period. And after that, I thought we played great. As
we go to the highlights of Friday's game, Bemidji State here in Big Rapids, and you outshot the Beavers both nights.
Yeah, we did, and we outshot them pretty handily, in particular the second night where I believe, here's the first goal where, again, turnover right in front of our goal. And I thought that we had talked to our guys going into the weekend. They are a very patient team, Bemidji State, and they're only going to forecheck one guy. They wait for you to make an error, and then they capitalize on it. And we had worked on a few things all week, and it didn't materialize in the first period. Rather than change anything, we just said, let's get to what we had worked on. And I really think from there on, outside of a couple other minor turnovers throughout the weekend, we really played strong. And I believe we only gave them 11 shots on goal after the first period on Friday night. And our problem was when you fall behind a team like this that is so defensive-minded, it was very difficult for us to come back and catch up.
They get the goal right there to take a 2-0 lead going into the third and final period. But again, you've had some opportunities here to put some shots on net.
Yeah, we did. We put close to 40 shots. I don't know if we quite hit 40 on Friday night. But even more important than the shots on net, we had a lot of good quality looks too in terms of the shots that we did have. In particular, when we get into the third period, I thought we played a pretty good offensive game. We just couldn't solve their goaltender.
We'll see here coming up shortly, Tyler Andrew, a freshman, with a goal in the closing minutes to get you back within a goal, and he's a player that's really came on at the end of the year.
Well, very surprising in that when he came, he's a big lad. He's 6'5", and you'll see him score right here. This is where he likes to set up shop, right there, and that was a great finish. But he's 6'5", he's a big body kid, and we kind of thought he'd be a bit of a developmental player for us, in that his best hockey would probably come near the end of his sophomore year. And to see him emerge now so quickly near the end of his freshman year, it's kind of taken us a bit by surprise, and a welcome surprise. And with the injuries we've had, we've elevated him to either our first or second line the past few weeks, and he doesn't look out of place there at all. And so I'm really looking forward to the future with him and to seeing what he brings to the program, because he's a player that we've watched really his development accelerate what we anticipated.
2-1 the final on Friday night. You talked about Tyler Andrews, a freshman right there. Saturday night, you look at the seniors, senior night on Saturday, and a chance to honor 6 seniors prior to the game, and a special class that group's been.
It is a special class, and arguably one of the most accomplished groups to ever come through here when you consider they've played 2 NCAA tournaments. They played in a Frozen Four, an NCAA championship game. Last year they played in the NCAA regional finals, where we were 1 goal away in double overtime from another Frozen Four. 2 conference championships. They're zeroing in on about 90 wins as a class, which is well over 20 wins a season. That's a pretty good group, and they've meant an awful lot to us. And you kind of forget TJ Schluter was part of that group too, and he suffered career-ending concussion syndrome last year. He stayed on staff and has worked with us, but it was great to see him on senior night do a lap around the rink with the rest of the guys. I was very, very excited about that.
How much emotion goes into senior night and having that ceremony before the game, and how does that translate as you go into the contest?
Well, we talk about it, because it can't help but think that the seniors aren't thinking. I mean, they're out of their normal game element, and they've got the ceremony beforehand. I always let them know, though, that it's only one good way to have a senior night, and that's the cherry on top is a win. And so we don't want to let the emotions get us off of what we need to do for the game. And then when I first started, I used to try to start all the seniors. And I've learned not to do that again. I think they got scored on a couple times right out of the gate. And so I said, okay, we'll just stay with our normal lines. It's unfair to those guys to all of a sudden put them out there to start. So we've gotten away from that. But it's a nice night. The Blue Line Club, he does a lot at the year end, too, with our awards banquet. And so it is special.
As we go into the game on Saturday night, another one-goal game determined by a goal or less, in this case a tie. It seems like you've had a lot of those one-goal type of games this season.
Well, with the number of one-goal games we had, it's highly unusual not to have more than one tie. And I probably kissed to death, but I told someone a week ago, I said, all the one-goal games we've been involved with, we only have one tie. And sure enough, we ended up tied on this night. And there's good ties and bad ties. And a bad tie, for instance, would be having to lead the third period and the other team tying it from behind. A good tie would be being down in the third period and coming back to tie it. So with that in mind, this was a good tie. We fell behind 1-0. We never once had a lead on Bemidji all weekend. And you saw one of the very few turnovers. We'll have one more in overtime that CJ has to make a big stop on. But other than that, the rest of the night really kind of belonged to us in terms of opportunities. You can see one there, but we had a lot of really good looks, and just, they call it puck luck, but we weren't able to sneak goals by them, or certainly not very easy here. So you can see the puck just kind of found that guy. Now we could have been a little better defensively, but we played well. We did.
You get that goal in the second period, and then you come back in the third and really battled back to get that equalizer that we'll see from Justin Buzzio coming up.
Yeah, and you know what? Of all the chances we had, this looked like the most innocent play when we ended up scoring. Yeah, it's here it is right there. It just really, the goalie kind of mishandled the puck right in front of the net. He should have covered it up. We'll take it, but of all our chances, that was one that, like I said, you just didn't expect it to go in at that time of the game. But you'll see here, we get a lot of really good chances here down the stretch run. Bemidji will get one in overtime as well. But I give guys a lot of credit, boy. They never stopped battling all weekend. And this point, believe it or not, we were going to pull our goalie in overtime, depending upon how the Lake State Northern Michigan game was going. We've got it on one of the smartphones. Found out that the Lakers were beating Northern by 3-0. And had it been Northern leading, we would have pulled our goalie to get the win, because the only chance we have would have had at home ice would have been a win then. But once I found out 1 point for the tie would keep us in the home ice shot, I decided, elected not to pull the goaltender.
Again, we see the Bulldogs getting some chances here in overtime. Going to end in a 1-1 tie, but a nice result nonetheless, coming back from that one goal deficit.
Oh, it really was. It was, and I think there's a chance we may play Bemidji in the first round of the playoffs. I think we have it down to 3 teams. It's going to be Bemidji, Northern, or Bowling Green. I'm pretty confident that we've got a good chance against all 3 of those teams. And the other positive is we got Matt Robertson coming back. It looks like Tyler Durantes will be available, and Zach Dewar. So we're getting healthy at the right time.
This week on the road at Lake Superior, final regular season series. Again, still a possibility for home ice out there. Talk about what it takes to pull off a couple wins this weekend.
Well, what we'll have to do, and again, we're fortunate in the way the scheduling's working. The Lakers play a similar style to Bemidji that plays a similar style to Huntsville. So it's not like we're contrasting huge differences in the way these teams approach it. So it'll be more the same. We're going to have to be patient. They're a very good defensive team. We'll probably carry the play. We're going to try to push the tempo, and they'll probably try to slow the game down a bit. But overall, they're well coached. David Witten's done a tremendous job this year with that team, and they've come a long way within 1 year. And we'll go out and give it our best.
Well, Coach, best of luck as you head to Sault Ste. Marie this weekend.
Thank you, Rob.
We'll be back with more Ferris Sports Update right after this.